I do not know how much more unwatchable Monday Night Raw and SmackDown are going to get on a week-to-week basis. Like I told you guys, if the show sucks to the extent that it does, I'm shutting it off. And that's exactly what happened tonight. I shut it off, and I didn't even watch the main event of Roxanne and whoever, Julia versus whatever, Io and Rhea. I'm not watching that. I didn't watch Finn versus AJ. I tuned out of the Becky Lynch promo, and I almost fell asleep during the Jey Uso massive yeet session. This show is unwatchable. These slop eaters that are continuing to glaze Triple H and tell us how amazing he is. Papa H, you're cooking. This isn't cooking. This is garbage. Do you understand that an average SmackDown or Raw like 15 or however many years ago was consisting of John Cena fighting Triple H in the main event, or Randy Orton versus Triple H in the main event, or Undertaker maybe cameoing here or there and fighting alongside someone to fight against, I don't know, Jericho, or something like that. The SmackDown's having Batista versus Rey Mysterio, or Rey Mysterio versus The Undertaker, or The Undertaker player, or Edge versus someone. That's the type of stuff we're getting. Jeff Hardy and random bangers. John Morrison putting on bangers. Dolph Ziggler putting on bangers. What is this garbage? You want me to get excited to watch Finn Balor versus AJ? This shows you how unexciting and how poorly Triple H is doing at his job. In what world in 2025, in the quote-unquote most stacked the roster's ever been, and you're throwing out two dudes who are 2 years from retirement in a match tonight? It's embarrassing, and everybody knows it. This is unacceptable content, man. From start to finish, it's sleep-inducing, it's nauseating, there's no star power, it's boring, the segments themselves are poorly done together, the talent just isn't that good. It's not an entertaining Raw. You started off with a CM Punk promo. Rollins talked on the mic. Then we also got to see a little brawl segment with Sami Zayn and CM Punk fighting against this new faction with Braun and Seth. Are you excited for this? This is exciting to you? You call this a great Raw? What is wrong with these fans? Who is calling this great? This is what gives Triple H, carte blanche to give us this garbage over and over again. Pat McAfee, last week on Raw, Gunther was like, yeah, man, I'm going to destroy you, Pat. I'm going to give you my best bet. I'm going to destroy you and pummel you and demolish you. And the following week, Pat McAfee is literally walking out there completely fine with glasses on, commentating the whole show. Really? And I'm supposed to believe that Gunther is going to now threat. He's randomly deciding to do world championship matches because he just gets to pick and choose when he gets a match. Roman Reigns comes back after a 4-year title reign and he doesn't get a rematch versus Cody. But Gunther, after a 6-month title reign where he fought 5 matches, gets to come back and get a title shot. This is why this company is a failure. It is an abject failure, and I will continue to bash this company and critique it until they make a change. This is unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable. This is an entertainment form that, when done correctly, is absolutely incredible. You're selling out stadiums. You're selling out arenas. You're doing all these amazing things. The buzz of it in the mainstream is great. That's what it used to be. That's what wrestling, WWE, that's what it used to be. What is it now? Finn Balor getting pinned by AJ Styles and getting pinned by everybody? Penta versus Chad Gable part 90? Really? The War Raiders versus the Creed Brothers? Jey Uso gutting a Yeet promo versus Gunther? That's what we're getting? We just got that for 4 months leading to Mania. This is embarrassing, man. And you know what's really funny to me is the simple fact, right? WWE consistently tells us that the roster is the best it's ever been, and business is booming, and everything is amazing, everything is awesome, everything is cool when you're part of a team, and like the Lego movie. This is what they tell us every single week. But for some reason, when I want to expect actual best level quality content, great level quality content, I cannot get that. Why is it that the roster is quote unquote the best it's ever been? The business is the best it's ever been. Fina, I'm the gamer. This is Pika. This is cinema. All the sayings that everyone's saying, but yet week to week, it's garbage television. How is that possible? We should be demanding great television on a week to week basis. And if we don't get it, we should be as infuriated as we are right now. And everyone's saying, oh, you don't like it, don't watch. You don't like it, don't watch. Because you guys are bots. If you want something to actually get better, you're not just going to tune out. You're going to critique it and actually try and point out issues so that eventually they can be changed. It's like your favorite sports team being garbage. You're just going to stop watching them forever until they finally become great again? That's not how that works. You ride through on the journey if you truly appreciate it. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm about to get off this ride because I do not enjoy the ride that Triple H and Triple Fraud is taking us on. This is absolute garbage. And that's the simple fact about it. It's always about, oh, if you don't like it, don't watch. You know what I'm saying? It's always the fans' fault. Triple H telling the fans to F off. Don't watch as a fan, or don't watch as a critic, watch as a fan. All this other nonsense. Why don't you point the finger at the creative team and the writers? Tell them to make a better product. Maybe everyone who's complaining is not always wrong. Like, everyone was complaining leading up to Mania, and Mania sucked. And then everyone was like, oh, well, you guys are actually right, man. Mania was pretty bad. Triple H is kind of trash at this. Yeah, well, look at that. You know, I thought it was, oh, if you don't like it, don't watch. And you kept watching and you watched garbage and now you're upset. So how about that? You know, it's an absolute embarrassment. Stop saying, oh, if you don't like it, don't watch. No, tell the person, the creative team, to make a better product, and then let's see what happens after that. And I'm going to continue to break this down from start to finish, so let's go ahead and go do it, okay? I'll catch up on the stuff I missed, and I'll cover it later on in the video, like the Becky promo, I think there was the main event match, and then the Finn versus AJ match. We're going to just skip that. Nobody cares. I can already predict what happened already right now. Let me guess. Finn Balor got pinned, and the Judgment Day got involved, and Finn Balor somehow got pinned anyways by AJ Styles. There you have it. That's all you need to know. Then, the first thing we got was CM Punk came out. CM Punk basically came out and admitted that he is really pissed off, and he's really mad, but he's not mad at anyone else. He's mad at himself for trusting Paul Heyman, his quote-unquote, best friend. And he basically says, Paul Heyman, I'm going to choke you because Jey Uso warned me when I came back to this company that you are a fat little snake. And then he basically says, I'm going to choke your fat neck, you know what I'm saying, and beat the crap out of you, whatever. Then Seth Rollins comes out, and it becomes glaringly obvious that this new faction with Rollins, Heyman, and Braun still makes no sense because, again, it's never explained, and I'm going to explain this in a second. It's never explained directly why Paul Heyman chose to side with Seth Rollins. It's never explained. Seth Rollins, if you guys remember, was feuding with Heyman in the build to Mania 40. He was, he was obviously, on Roman's side, I guess, to an extent, during the Rollins feud in 2022, early in the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? He's always been against Rollins since the whole entire Tribal Chief run. That is how it worked. I think Paul Heyman was on Lesnar's side in early 2022 until Roman turned on him at the Rumble, but I don't remember. Either way, Heyman's been on Roman's side for 4+ years, 4 or 5 years, and he had been standing by his side against Seth Rollins and against his stupid schemes. And you mean to tell me that after all of that, and also being, helping Jey Uso amidst that time, now all of a sudden he's okay with Jey Uso getting beat up. He's okay siding with Seth Rollins, who was just talking trash on him last year in the Build to Mania 40. None of this makes any sense. But for some odd reason, after Punk says this, Rollins gets on the mic and then says, you know what, CM Punk, all you did was treat Paul Heyman like crap. You lied and you treated him like garbage. You weren't a true good friend. And then all of a sudden, Paul Heyman then sides with Seth Rollins. Rollins basically says all CM Punk does is play the victim and complain and do the same thing. Rollins has been doing the same thing for a year since he lost the championship. How many weeks do we see him come out and complain about either Drew McIntyre or CM Punk? And then he was complaining about Bronson Reed. I'll make you famous, Bronson Reed. And then he was complaining about Roman Reigns on the Build to Mania and CM Punk even more. But we have to sit here and get the same segment over and over and over again. And people are going to sit here and call this peak. This is unacceptable, man. It absolutely is unacceptable. We want to be entertained. We want to watch good content. Goodness gracious, man. This is unbelievable what has happened to this company, bro. In just a year span, you went from Mania 40 being as great as it was to this garbage on a week-to-week basis. This is unbearable, man. And everyone knows it. Then after all this, while Rollins says, Punk is playing the victim and, lying and doing the same thing Rollins has been doing for a year now, he then starts a brawl. Braun Breaker comes out looking like annoying orange because he's super tan, just like Paul Heyman looks like a big orange as well. They both come down to the ring. They brawl with Punk for a second. And then all of a sudden, you have Sami Zayn coming out and helping out, and then Jey Uso gets involved. And then all of a sudden, Rollins and Braun have to retreat because there's 3 of them and then 2 of them. It's so stupid. This is ridiculous. The fact that Sami Zayn is in a opening segment is just embarrassing. Sami Zayn is a mid-card jobber. Do you understand that? What is he doing? Jey Uso is also a mid-card jobber. I don't care what shiny little belt you put on his back with the little blue logos. Yee. He's a jobber, and you know it. There's no reason of trying to pretend like this isn't bad. It's not good, guys. Stop. You can't tell me that in the pantheon of WWE, when you look at greats like Stone Cold, The Rock, Cena was a world champ. Roman obviously just had the big world champ reign. Punk had a year-long world champ reign, etc. And you pass that down to Jey Uso? To Jey Uso? Cody Rhodes is better than Jey Uso, and it's not even close. And Cody Rhodes is a jobber. You understand that? This is how embarrassing this shows have become. And anyways, then we get this Brawl segment, and that's basically it. It just splits up, and that's all that it is. By the way, I don't know why they can't just let the world champion just be champion. Why do they always have to be entangled in some random feud? You know what I'm saying? It's like the Will Smith entanglement is back. You know what I mean? It's just stupid at this point. Cody Rhodes last year had to get entangled in the bloodline. Now the new world champion, Jey Uso, now he's got to get entangled in this little feud thing. And then we're going to talk about what happens with him and Gunther later. It's unacceptable. Anyways, Pat McAfee basically then is welcomed back. He's completely fine after the match that Gunther said he was going to obliterate Pat. He was going to destroy Pat. Just like he said he was going to give Jey Uso 10 weeks of hell and then proceeded to get tapped out at Mania in 4 seconds. Anyways, then we also get Penta versus Chad Gable. What is there to say about this match? Let's be honest. What is it to say about this match, man? What do you want me to say about this? This is the 15th time we've seen this, it feels like. And Penta versus Chad Gable, we already saw this was Penta's first match, I think, when he came back to when he came to WWE. And then I think he wrestled him maybe one other time. And now he's wrestling him tonight again. So what is there to say about this? All Chad Gable does is take pins. What about this is so impressive? What do we need to talk about? Oh, there was a German suplex spot from the middle of the rope. Awesome, nice. There was the Mexican driver from the top rope. Nice. And I don't give a crap anymore. It's not enough to get decent wrestling matches. I want great stories. I want entertainment. I want star power. I want larger-than-life storytelling and larger-than-life moments. That's what I want. I don't want it every week on Raw because I know that's not possible. But can you at least give it to me one Raw out of 15? Come on, man. This is embarrassing, bro. Penta versus Chad Gable. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Now, I don't even know what to even say about this match. Who even won this? Penta? Yeah, Penta won this. Sorry, because Chad Gable always gets pinned. See, I'm losing my words because I'm genuinely getting frustrated at this nonsense. After a while of watching this garbage, I want to come on here and talk about how great the WWE can possibly be and how amazing the show was and how awesome the show was. Just go back and watch. When I got out of Mania 40, I'm pretty sure I called it the greatest Mania ever or whatever. So one of the greatest Manias ever. I loved Mania 40. It was awesome. I love to be positive about this stuff, but this is nothing to be positive about. This is garbage content. And the fact that we get from this Penta and Chad Gable match to a Finn Balor having backstage turmoil with the Judgment Day, he's been having backstage turmoil for 3 years. Move on from this story. Have Finn Balor get pinned by somebody every week and just eventually job him out until he retires. That's all you've been doing for the last 3 years, so just keep doing it. I'm never, ever covering another backstage segment for the Judgment Day that involves Finn Balor and the Judgment Day ever again. Done. Now, we also have to talk about the New Day segment, because that's all this was. The Creed brothers beat the War Raiders because the New Day got involved. The only entertaining part about this was that the New Day was on commentary, and that's really all that you get. There's really nothing else to say about this. And just like that, we're already like over halfway done the show or around that. That shows you how much filler ads and filler commercials that we get on a week to week. The amount of times I switch from the Celtics and Knicks game, you know what I'm saying, watching that playoff game, switching back to Netflix, and then switching back and forth, it's just ads galore on both programs. What is up with this, man? At least I was actually watching entertaining basketball and close basketball in the playoffs. What the heck am I watching on Raw? Garbage. That's what I'm watching. That's what I'm tuning in for. That's what some people are spending strictly, $10 to $15 a month on Netflix subscriptions to watch this trash. So it is what it is. Then we get to the next thing, which was basically Jey Uso comes out. Jey Uso basically comes out and he calls out Logan Paul. After this happens, Logan Paul obviously doesn't come out and Jey's interrupted by Gunther. Gunther comes out and says, "You're not built for this moment, Jey, because you're not fit to be a champion, and I can tell by the look in your eyes, you don't have what it takes to be champion." Then Gunther basically, like I mentioned earlier, he promised a demolition of Jey and Pat McAfee, right? He promised to demolish them and give them hell, and he was going to destroy them and do all these things, right? And now look at what the heck Gunther is doing. He is doing nothing. You got tapped out by Jey Uso. You had an elongated match with Pat McAfee. This is a joke. I'm tired of even seeing Gunther on my TV screen right now. This jobber has the audacity to come back here and tell Jey Uso this. He says, after Money in the Bank, in about a month basically, I am going to challenge you for your World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I want someone to act, because I'm not even going to rage at this. I'm not even going to yell. I'm not even going to yell. How in the world does Roman Reigns have a 4 to 5 year championship reign? He was a double champ, for a period in there, and then he got, the Universal title, the Unified and all that stuff, right? Now you look at this. He's the undisputed champion. 4-year reign, comes back, has to fight his way up for Ula Fala, and doesn't automatically get a title rematch. That's what happened. Gunther, 6 title defenses in 8 months as champion, comes back and demands a championship match, and it's just automatically done. Automatically done. You know that makes no sense. I know that makes no sense. So there's no point of even raging about it because you know that it's stupid. There's nothing to say about this. This is indefensible. Cody Rhodes will likely come back and maybe he gets a title rematch versus Cena when he comes back. Maybe. And maybe if Jey loses, he might get a rematch, once he loses his world title. But either way, the in-service, the inconsistency, the disproportionate booking is just embarrassing at this point. And then Jey Uso proceeds to get on the mic and responds by literally saying this. "What you talking about, Gunther? I'm in my place. I know my place. I'm in my place. I know this place. This is my place. I run this place. Yeet, yeet, yeet." Come on, man. Come on, this is your world champion, and this is the best product you're getting. You know this is garbage. Don't try and lie to yourself and act like it isn't something that it isn't. It's garbage, and everyone needs to be made aware of it because it is an embarrassment. No nonsense anymore, man. The Raws and SmackDowns that suck deserve to be trash. You guys talk about you don't like it, don't watch. You don't like it, don't watch. Well, how about this? Why don't the people making the product make a better product? Huh? Why about that? Why do we never focus on that? Why is it always the fans' fault? Triple H tells the fans to F off and don't watch as a critic, watch as a fan. That's what he tells everybody. Why don't you make the product better? Huh? Is that an option? Probably not. Anyways, we get out of this segment. The only way this can work, and I mean the only way that this can work, is basically by having a potential situation where you have LA Knight, win the Money in the Bank, and then 2 nights later, after Gunther or Jey wins the belt or retains the belt, whatever happens with that, LA Knight comes out and cashes in and becomes the world champion. That's the only possible way that you are going to be able to get out of this absolute and utter mess. If not, I don't give a crap what happens with this world title. I don't give a crap what happens with anything anymore. It's an embarrassment, man. Then you get Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. We're skipping this match. AJ Styles wins because I think Penta got involved or something like that. AJ Styles won the match. Nobody cares. And I just checked in to see the main event match that had Roxanne and Julia versus Rhea and Io Sky. And to no one's surprise, this ended with Rhea and Io Sky taking the W. And then afterwards, Rhea kind of looked at the belt next to Io, and they kind of stood off and looked at the championship. And that was that. I saw a couple of the highlights. This seemed to be a pretty average, match for a Raw main event. This is okay. It's nothing special at all. This is pretty average, I'd say, at best. I mean, with the talent involved in the match, this really should have been a for sure certified banger, one of the best women's tag matches ever. But, again, why would I expect that? WWE tells us this is the best the roster's ever been, but when I expect the best level content, I can't do that anymore. You know what I mean? It's such an embarrassment. It's an absolute joke. Anyways, this Raw, basically, I don't really know what to say about this. This is easily one of the worst Raws I've ever seen, obviously. I mean, I shut it off like, 40 minutes before it even ended. I already tuned out, halfway falling asleep at the hour point. What is there good to say about this episode? Genuinely, can someone please, if you in the comments, if you love this episode, go ahead and voice off in the comments below, but I'm done with this episode. I'm in a very no-nonsense mood about this show because it genuinely becomes infuriating after a while. When you love something and you actually want it to be great and you've seen it be great and it's brought you so much, entertainment and so much joy, so many laughs, so many smiles, etc., that is what the good stuff in wrestling is supposed to give you. But this is not good stuff, this is bad stuff, and everybody knows this, and there's no need to sit here and try and pretend and make face and try and make it sound good. No, this was a horrible show, and WWE and Triple H, creative fraud, Triple H, triple fraud, deserves to be called out for this garbage. This episode is going to get a 1 out of 10, and this is easily one of, if not the worst episode of Raw that I've ever seen in my life. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your support. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.